The trailer for the newest Breath of the Wild sequel is looking quite insane, featuring these incredibly detailed sky islands, brand new magic armor abilities, weapons, and even some awesome looking new enemies that all make this game stand out immensely from the first. Although a lot can be theorized on this trailer regarding the game's story and theme, especially with all this new Zonai magic, I personally am most interested in how this game plays out from a gameplay level with all these amazing new mechanics present, ranging from this flamethrower-esque shield Link uses, the flight mechanics to travel between islands, his unusual time reversal ability, and more. Despite not actually having any in-time gameplay to work with at the moment, I decided to analyze all the cinematic gameplay shown in the trailer to speculate how all these new mechanics will work in context, and explore all the potential possibilities on how they can be integrated, especially when compared to what we know of in the first game. So without any further delay, firstly, my ultimate favorite feature from this trailer has gotta be the flamethrower shield that Link has, which spurts a quick burst of fire at this giant tentacle monster to burn it. This flamethrower device seems to be a combination between two different objects: this new Zonai dragon head, reminiscent of the dragon statues found inside of Farron, and the wooden shield it's mounted upon, which is the same exact wooden shield from the first game, as you can evidently see the gray outline with the red pattern on the front. Since this seems to be a combination between a new object and a known one, it's unlikely that this whole unit is a separate weapon you can find within the world, but rather the dragon head is an attachment you can obtain and fuse to any shield yourself, similar to how past games like Twilight Princess allowed you to fuse a bow and arrow with bombs for bomb arrows, or with a Hawkeye to create a scoped bow. It's likely that an object like this dragon head will be stored in a new items tab in the inventory menu, and it can be added onto a shield by either clicking it there, or as another selection option when selecting on any individual shield, beyond just equip and cancel. Alternatively, it is possible that attachments like this can only be attached by using a workbench object within villages, assuming that crafting and weapon modifications become a bigger thing in this game, but at the moment this seems less likely. Regardless, for the flamethrower itself, it's unclear whether this is meant to spew a continuous flame or just a short burst like we see, but this all depends on how fire damage works in this game. In the base Breath of the Wild, igniting most things on fire directly deals exactly 10 points of damage, with no damage over time effect as you'd expect. The only way to get this damage over time effect is if you flame something in the environment like some tall grass an enemy is standing on, which deals a significantly better 30 damage a second. More than likely for this new weapon though, it probably deals a 10 points of damage upon first contact and then 30 DPS ongoing, which would be pretty toasty. So to prevent a continuous OP roasting, this weapon more than likely works off a short charge, indicated by the green glowing strip you can see on the side of the weapon. So you can't use it for too long before having to wait for its fuel to recharge back. And since this weapon doesn't go in your main hand and rather just your shield, I feel that the likely Joy-Con button needed to activate the flame ability is R, aka right bumper, which is normally used as a throw weapon button, but if your sword currently isn't out, it would make sense that this button would be repurposed for other abilities like this instead. But ultimately, this attachment is super neat, and it's likely that there will be other such attachments in the game for like things, including other elemental distributors. It is possible that these attachments may work off a durability system, and these attachments can be found all throughout the world as chest loots like all normal weapons can, but I would prefer if these attachments were instead permanent relics that can be swapped on and off items at will, therefore acting more like traditional dungeon items from past games, so this relic could be the first sign of their return. Moving on though, another really neat ability Link has this time around is the time reversal move, where Link is seen using his new magical arm to hurl a boulder back in time towards all the enemies that used it against him. First, I wanted to say that this new magic arm seems to be this game's replacement for the Sheikah Slate, as since the past Slate is not present within any of the two sequel trailers, a new type of device like the arm would be the most fitting way to give Link new types of abilities beyond the past bombs, cryonis, magnesis, and stasis. So this new time reversal ability seen here seems to be a new, close replacement to stasis, as instead of just freezing the time to an object and applying the momentum yourself, it seems like it just goes back in time to where the object was previously, as shown by the multiple guide balls you see up the hill. As soon as a player initially selects an object for reversion, assumably by selecting it like you did with stasis, it seems that you can choose when you want the time reversal to start, as Link waits a bit in the trailer to reverse it only when the enemies are better lined up, to promote a bit more tactful usage. This reversal action is probably triggered by pressing and holding the rune button, meaning that the longer it's held down, the longer it'll keep on its backwards path, only stopping when the button is released or the overall time is up. This seems to be the best way a player can control how long or short the effect lasts for, similar to how the player can control how much momentum they put into an object while stasising by hitting it more or less, while still both having a maximum. As of now, it's unclear whether an ability like this will be obtained at the beginning of the game like how the runes were in Breath of the Wild, or if the arm learns new abilities throughout. But I guess that all depends on the total number of unlockable abilities throughout, as I'm sure at least a few of them will be present right away even if this one isn't. But finally, the last set of abilities shown off in this trailer encapsulates the most broad theme shown off in the game, which are the brand new travel mechanics, primarily with Link's new skydiving-esque move and this incredibly wild platform phasing mechanic. Given how much more vertical this game's world is compared to its predecessor, it makes sense to have this skydiving move, which is probably nothing more than just a standard fall animation if the player is falling from great heights. After all, the standard fall animation in the first Breath of the Wild is pretty stiff looking from long lengths, so it makes sense for him to form into a natural skydiving stance if the fall exceeds a certain distance, which is all the more necessary considering the even greater scope of this world. And I'm sure the standard fall animation will still play if it's only a short distance from the ground. After all, Skyward Sword had already introduced the skydiving mechanic years ago, so I'm sure it'll just be the dynamic interpretation of that. But with the new falling mechanic must come a new rising mechanic, and I feel that this new phasing ability we see here is just that. At a first glance, it seems more like a way a player can rise up to phase through any solid surface at will, but it seems to be a bit more structured than that, instead just showing the midst of an upwards teleportation ability that has a set start and end point. In the shot before, we see what seems to be a puddle rising up into a droplet, assumably the start of this upwards ascent. But what's important to take note of is the container that holds this puddle, this Zonai-styled rock circle similar to the eye of a Zonai dragon, which are likely what all the activation points for this ability look like. After standing in one of these spots, the player interacts with it to launch upwards through a designated path, through this green spiraling swirl, to come up directly where he needs to. From this footage, it's uncertain whether this ascent has started from the surface ground or just from the platform below. The only clues we have are the surroundings of the puddle, which appears to be grasses found on the surface world, but also could just be what the lower platform's foliage looks like. It's just a little too out of focus to tell. But ultimately, I think this is just a way to travel between vast elevations within the islands themselves, as judging by the architecture of this island, climbing would be impossible due to the sharp 90-degree angles of these columns. So I feel that this phasing mechanic is the game's way of letting you travel these islands vertically a lot more easily, and stylishly for the matter as well. But with all of this said, that covers all the major new player mechanics that they showed off in this trailer, and hopefully a lot of what we broke down today happens to be mostly true when we see some actual gameplay to this. I'm always happy to break down these games on a more technical level when I get the chance, so hopefully more will be shown off to help pave the way a bit. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching this one though. Feel free to like and subscribe for even more Breath of the Wild and sequel content to come, and I hope to see you guys soon. Goodbye!